Back in December 1991, Cameron Todd Willingham lived with his family in a one-story wood-framed home in Corsicana, a city in northeast Texas. Like many residents of Corsicana at the time, Todd faced poverty. He was an unemployed car mechanic caring for his 3 daughters, 2-year-old Amber and 1-year-old twins, Carmen and Cameron. On the morning of December 23, 1991, while his wife Stacy was at work, the house erupted in billowing flames. The girls died, and Todd fled with burns and singed hair. Fire investigators rapidly reached a grim conclusion. The ferocious fire that within mere minutes of taking hold in the kids' bedroom was seen roaring out of blown-out windows in the front door was the deliberate work of an arsonist. Todd Willingham was arrested and charged with the arson murder of his 3 daughters. But Todd insisted he was innocent, refusing the offer of a life sentence in exchange for a guilty plea. At trial, prosecutors charged Willingham with killing his daughters by fire to cover up his abuse of them.
In the children's room there were signs of what we thought was an accelerant poured on the floor. Usually accelerants will leak through the cracks of the floors and burn underneath, and fire burns up.
There was an unusual burn pattern on the aluminum threshold plate, which indicates that something had been introduced, poured down, leaked through. We took a sample of that, and that came back as a positive sample for charcoal lighter fluid.
Another integral part of the case against Willingham was the testimony of Johnny Webb.
And he said, well, I can't deal with what I've done. And I said, what are you talking about? And that's when he confessed to what he had done.
Webb had been Willingham's cellmate, and he testified that Willingham had confessed to him that he set the fire to hide an injury or death of one of the girls, which was caused by his wife. Todd Willingham continued to maintain his innocence, but on October 29, 1992, he was sentenced to death.
I feel like justice was served for those 3 little girls. It was a jury of 12 people of this community who determined that with all the evidence presented to him that he was guilty. And that's the way the system works.
He spent years trying to appeal his conviction, to no avail. Finally, in February 2004, Willingham was executed by lethal injection in Texas State Penitentiary in Huntsville. Seemingly, the law had settled a score with an unrepentant child killer. However, the matter was far from settled. Since Willingham's execution, persistent questions have been raised regarding all of the evidence against him, and especially the forensic evidence used in the conviction. A respected fire investigator, Gerald Hurst, analyzed the case documents, the trial transcriptions, and an hour-long videotape of the aftermath of the fire scene. It was just a fire.
Taking a look at the photographs and video and testimony and fire investigation report, it became apparent that we were dealing with a fire which had gone to flashover.
Flashover, the instant ignition of all combustible material in a room.
Flashover had left natural patterns on the floor that all post-flashover fires tend to leave behind, and these had been misidentified as pour patterns, and thus the fire had been labeled an arson.
Hurst concluded that the fire had 1 point of origin, not 3. Puddle-shaped scorch marks occurred naturally and had been replicated in experiments. Evidence of lighter fluid by the front door turned out to be caused by a melted can of fluid left beside the family grill on the front porch and spread under the door by the firemen's hoses. No fluid was found at the fire's origin. A separate team of arson experts reached the same conclusion.
Todd Willingham's case falls into that category where there is not 1 iota of evidence that the fire was arson. Not 1 iota.
Due to the outcry, the state of Texas ordered a re-examination of the case in 2009. Dr. Craig Baylor, hired by the Texas Forensic Science Commission to review the case, found that a finding of arson could not be sustained.
The Byler report is point for point a confirmation of the original Hearst report that all 20 of the indicators were wrong. This is an accidental fire.
As for Johnny Webb, the jailhouse informant, accusations of prosecutorial misconduct have arisen. During trial, prosecutors denied promising Webb a sentence reduction in exchange for testimony against Todd. Later, however, the prosecutor in fact interceded with the Texas Parole Board to secure an early release for Webb. Even more disturbingly, back in 2000, years before Willingham's execution, Webb had sent Prosecutor Jackson a motion to recant testimony, which declared, Mr. Willingham is innocent of all charges. Willingham's attorneys were never notified of this. Webb subsequently recanted his recantation, but in a taped interview in 2014, he again said that Willingham had not made any confession to him.
Willingham never, ever, not once told me that he killed his family. Never said that. I was told to say that. You know, I'm sorry I lied about it. I wish I could change that. I can't.
Could the state of Texas have executed an innocent man?